Hello everyone, Short Points Audits here. We're at the Chris Pollak for Jackson Clan Rally. Um, you just got to see these people to believe them. As always, Freedom Doggo's here, and we're going to go see what's what. Come here, baby. Come on. Sorry. Let's see what's what. Hello, how you doing? I guess we just gotta sign in.
Yes, please.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna pause it for that. Alright, so we got our wristband, we're signed in, and we'll be back for our flag in a minute. Oh, they're saying sit down. I guess everybody's sitting down over there. Drinks in there. Oh, do they have? They got hamburgers. Oh, fuck that. That's more important than anything.
Thank you. Everybody, thank you for coming today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Elliot Shemtov. I am Chris Pollak's campaign manager. So again, from the bottom of my heart, Chris and I, we really appreciate your support. We appreciate you coming today. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And I want to thank the VFW for having us as well. They've been fantastic. So just some quick basic information, some housekeeping rules. We have a couple bathrooms here. There's one where the bar is, and there's one in the main hall. Food obviously is for you guys. It's free. Enjoy yourself. Eat as much as you can. There's plenty. Drinks as well. And that's pretty much it for the housekeeping. We're going to just kind of roll through 6 or 7 different speakers. And in the end, figure right around 5:15, Chris will be free. He'll either be walking around at a table. Feel free to approach Chris, talk to him. If you have any issues that are on your mind, we'd love to hear from you. You know, so we'll kind of keep this a little bit on the interactive side. So quick discussion on who I am. Again, as you know, I'm Chris's campaign manager. I've been living in Jackson for that's Chris's son, Logan. Hey, Logan. So I've been living in Jackson. I have a house that I bought around 12 or 13 years ago. I've lived on and off in Jackson for a few other stints in 60 acres. I grew up in Howell, so I grew up right next door to Jackson. Had a ton of friends from this area. One of my best friends, he's lived here his entire life. Moved away a little while ago. Owned a pizzeria, a guy named Dave Franciosi. Pizza Dave, as some of you may know him. Great guy. So, you know, I've seen the evolution of all these towns, right? Jackson, Lakewood, Howell. I moved here in '82 from New Brunswick. I know it well. You're talking, what, 43 years, the bulk of my life. I'm 53. And, you know, these were all great towns. They still are great towns. Jackson's an amazing place. I mean, look around. It's gorgeous, right? Some of the greatest assets in Jackson, besides you people, right? You're the greatest asset Jackson has. It's the air. It's the water. It's the people. It's the environment. We don't want that to change, right? That's what we're here for. That's why we moved here. It's just an amazing place. We don't want to leave our home, right? I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Several years ago, I said to my wife, I'm like, I think we need to go. I think we need to move out of Jackson. And about 6 months ago, I met Chris Pollak. I saw a video of his online, and I was kind of blown away. You know, every now and then, you meet someone who's the right person for the right moment, for the right set of issues. Chris was it. I saw one video and I was sold. I reached out to Chris. I said, hey man, I'd love to help you out. So he says, fine, let's go grab some coffee. So we do. We grab some coffee at Starbucks. And he's asking me how I can help. I said, listen, I've never ran a campaign before. I've run businesses. I've taken businesses public. I know how to work with people. I understand community. I understand about giving back and being selfless. And at the end of the day, after I spoke to Chris, I felt like I was speaking to a brother or a friend or a relative, not a politician. And that's really what spurred me to do this. So this is a very, very different type of campaign. We're not running a similar campaign to our opponent or to other politicians, because Chris really isn't a politician. What's Chris Pollak going to do when he gets into office? Simple, right? First off, we are going to send Chris Pollak to the council. That's going to happen. That is going to happen. I promise you all. You come out to vote, this is your next councilman. Now, what's he going to do when he gets in? People say, there's 5 people on the council, he's going to be outnumbered, he's going to be outgunned. Well, I got news for you, okay? This is not a regular human being right here. He is going to cause problems. He is going to be a voice. And when I say cause problems, I don't mean cause problems for the town. I'm talking about cause problems for the people that have done some of the most insidious crap I've ever seen to this human being. There's only one other person I've ever seen take such a beating, and that's President Trump, right? So if they think they can pull the same crap on him, I got news for you. It's not going to happen, okay? Because the more they do to this man, the tougher he gets, and the more he'll come at them. Now, what's he going to do for all of us? Well, it's simple. He's going to bring accountability and transparency to this council. You want to know why? Because this council doesn't have it. It doesn't have it. These people behind the dais, they work for themselves. They don't work for you. They don't work for the town. They don't work for people. They work to enrich themselves. We, as Jacksonites, we need a voice. We need a vehicle. We need someone who's going to take the issues we have and bring that voice to the council. And if they do bring up some legislation that works for the town, Chris will say yes, right? He'll go along with it. But the majority of the legislation that they bring forward, pardon my French, is bullshit, okay? And I'm sorry for using that language, but that's emotionally how I feel. And he'll be there to call them out every single time. His opponent won't do it because his opponent is part of the establishment. So at the end of the day, you're not going to get fair representation. You're going to get more of the same malarkey from our opponent. And Chris will probably tell you a little bit more about that. I want to also take a few moments to talk about Chris because he's very humble. He won't tell you these things, but I will. So this man wakes up at 4 o'clock every morning. You want to talk about a hard worker? You want to talk about a family man? The quintessential middle-class Jacksonite? 4 o'clock in the morning, he's out the door at 4:40. He's in his car on his way to New York City as a scaffold mechanic. He leaves at 2, 3 o'clock. He comes home. He changes quickly. He goes to work. He has a karate studio in town. He's a business owner. And then he handles all of the teaching with kids, which take a lot of patience, and adults. And then he eats his dinner, which is probably 9 o'clock at night, spends some family time with his kids, and then goes to bed probably around 12. Just do the math on that. That's a 20-hour day. I don't know how he does it. I'm 53. I can't stay up for 12 hours, right? I mean, this guy's got more energy than Trump. and that's kind of an oddity, right? Because that guy, he works off about 18 hours, 6 hours sleep. He does about 4. quickly, and I don't want to take too much of Chris's thunder, but goals of the campaign, I was going to talk about a few of the goals and what we're trying to do. I'm going to leave that up to Chris, right? And he's going to talk about some things about overdevelopment, schools, environment, traffic, safety, law enforcement, which, by the way, our wonderful news source in town tried to paint us as, anti-law enforcement. We're 100% law enforcement. We are for safety and the rule of law in this town. And by the way, that goes for everybody. Accountability for every single person. I don't care if you're a special interest, who you are, everyone plays by the rules. Follow what I'm saying? And I don't mean that just from a law enforcement point of view. I mean that from zoning, owning a boarding house, whatever it may be. Same set of rules for everyone, not the special interests, which Chris will talk about. I'm going to take 2 seconds to talk about our opponent. Let's just start off with, if we put 300 signs out, I think they've taken like 200 of our signs, okay? Is that a way to run a campaign? To put AI smear images of Chris Pollak online, which is vile and disgusting? You see, that's the difference between us and them. We don't have to cheat. They do to win, okay? They know that this man has the pulse of the people. So at the end of the day, we play by the rules. And they represent who they are behind that dais. And that's people that don't play by the rules. Well, he does. We do. So that's a big difference. Last thing I'll bring up. Everybody here know who Lying Phil is? Phil Stilton? Fat Boy Phil Stilton. There you go. That's a new one. I think I may use that moniker.
A lot worse words we could use.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you what. I want everyone to give Phil Stilton a hand of applause for making this man famous. Thank you. There you go. That's it. There you go. Thank you, Phil Stilton, for everything you've done. And again, that's the difference. Well, let's just back up real quick. $4,300 to Phil Stilton, paid from your tax dollars, okay? Paid by the council so he can rip us up and say vile and disgusting things. We don't do that, right? That's not Jackson. That's not who Jackson is. But that's who Phil Stilton is. A real piece of garbage, paid for by the town, used by the town for election interference to try to call us names. Shame on him. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to the next speaker. We got 5 or 6 great speakers that are going to come up today. And the next speaker is going to be Eleanor Hannum. And I just want to say a couple things about Eleanor before she comes up. I met Eleanor, I'd say about halfway through the campaign. For those of you who don't know who Eleanor is, she's been here for 60 plus years. Jackson's her home, right? She embodies everything about Jackson. She's a sweet person. She's intelligent. She understands what people want in this town. And it holds a very near and dear place in her heart. So Eleanor also ran for office last year. And part of this campaign that we have is a tribute to Eleanor. Thank you, Eleanor. I want to give Eleanor a big thanks. Without this woman, we wouldn't be here today doing what we're doing. So she's going to help us hopefully finish off the job. And real quick, before she gets up here, I also want to say we're not going to be done this year. This is only part of the solution. Next year, we're going to send Chris back to the council with another council member and a mayor. We're going to take back the town. Next year, we take back Jackson. Eleanor Hannum, everybody.
Hi, Jackson. I'm just a little nervous. This is really. All right, so my name is Eleanor Hannum. Some of you know me as... Closer? Oh. Some of you know me as Eleanor Semino, and some of you know me as Eleanor Schott. I was born here in 1964. I never left. I love this town. I raised my children in this town. I was raised in Edgewood. I grew up playing on the creek off of Dogwood Drive. That's what we did. We played manhunt. My family, my father was a contractor. He decided that he wanted to build a house in the woods. And that is when our family in 1975 moved to Casville. I grew up right on the lake, pretty much the only house on the lake. That was quite the experience, but it was a wonderful experience. I know almost every single inch of this town. I have friends all over this town. I know what my friends have been begging for and pleading for. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. I was asked to speak by Chris and Elliot because I am hometown. And they asked me to talk about my experiences of Jackson, what I know, what I remember. I raised my 3 children here. They went to Jackson Memorial. I graduated Jackson Memorial in 1982. I have 3 grandchildren that still live here. I went to Johnson School. I was the second class at Getz when it was the open concept. I have watched Jackson grow from the late 80s, the 90s, and around the late 2000s, 2010 is when things started changing. I had bullet point notes, so I don't want to forget anything. So just bear with me. In the late 80s and 90s, that's when a big influx and basically a building boom started. We watched families come to Jackson from Staten Island, from North Jersey, from New York, and from neighboring towns. They all loved this town. My children have friends that they grew up with, that they still gather with to this day. My daughter Regina, when her and her friends get together, there's like 30 of them. And they still celebrate the loss of those who they lost. I mean, and some of which they have businesses here. But I guess it was around 2011 when my eyes were wide open. At that time, I really didn't know who the mayor was. I was too busy with life. I was too busy raising children and working. That's when I saw evil walk into this town. That evil came by the name of George Gilmore. I didn't know who he was. I had no clue. But I watched him become the town attorney. I watched him change our codes. I watched him change our laws. I watched him change the code, the requirements for a business administrator that runs this town. Doesn't need any kind of degree at all. That's because George Gilmore at that time, who was the chairman of the state GOP, wanted to make sure he can put Joey Torres as our business administrator. And for those of you who do not know who Joey Torres is, he is the mayor of Patterson, former mayor of Patterson that ended up in jail. He was slid in as the business administrator in Jackson while George Gilmore worked his magic to get him elected in Patterson. And here's the interesting thing. Joey Torres is a Democrat. So don't think for a second that this is all GOP or Democrat. This is a game. This is a game of greed, money, and power. They are all intertwined. I'm just checking my notes. So I watched George Gilmore as our township attorney. He had his associate actually be the town attorney. Because usually with the contract, they contract the firm, and the firm will have one of their associates be the attorney. At that time, it was Gene Cipriani. Gene Cipriani is currently the zoning board attorney. She was just appointed. Gene Cipriani is also the dirty attorney who wrote the 2 unconstitutional ordinances that carved up Jackson Township.
Also a major contributor to the other guy running for this position, by the way.
Gene Cipriani, when I ran into her and I questioned her, I said, Gene, how can you write unconstitutional ordinances? She says to me, you do what your client asks you to do. Now, I'm sorry, my husband is a lawyer, and when you are swearing your oath for the bar, you are swearing an oath to uphold the United States Constitution. So there's a lot of evil at play in this town. And it's not for us, it is for greed, it is for power, it is for money, it is for control. It is to line the pockets of all their friends. So what actually opened up my eyes to realize what was happening? What year was that? So April 11th, 2011, I live off of Cedar Swamp Road. My cul-de-sac of 12 homes backs up to JR Custom Landscaping. And my husband was getting ready for work and the shower doors are shaking. He and a neighbor go, and we have a tub grinder in our backyard. That tub grinder was the beginning of the end. That tub grinder, those sifters, all the township leaves from Jackson Township that were at the Vista Center ended up in our backyard. Do you know what that smells like? That was done when Mayor Reyna decided to do Furlough Fridays. And all the township DPW guys, not all of them, a lot of them, on their Fridays, worked for JR. It was a 6-year fight, a lot of money, and ultimately we won. We were right. He was manufacturing topsoil and mulch using Jackson Township leaves at our expense, and with the nod from Reyna and Councilman Bressi. So Councilman Bressi that they appointed is the yes man. He is so dirty, as he sat in our backyards to try to help us and save our neighborhood.
He's a fake, phony fraud.
Yes, yes he is.
I was
Yep.
a councilman during that administration. Fake, phony fraud. Good work, young lady.
Thank you.
JR
That-
dumped that crap and the property next to me, Consolina Farm.
Yep.
Store it there.
It was Consolina. I have pictures you would not believe. The pile in my backyard was the size of that. Composting down illegally. And there's a reason why I'm bringing that up. Because what was on the first page was to talk about what Camp Joy was when I grew up. There was a community pool there. We grew up, everyone in Jackson went to the community pool at Camp Joy. But honestly, I was young, I don't know what happened, but I do know that Jackson Township did buy it. And there's a reason, and I'll get to why I brought up Camp Joy. But the fight that us residents had against JR Custom Landscaping with the mess he created in my backyard and with Consolina Farms opened up the floodgates. They messed with the wrong person because I couldn't let it go. Because at our expense, they were destroying our lives, our neighborhoods. They didn't care about us. This is how deep it is. We had the health department come in, and the woman that would come every single time it was as bad as it got, we called them to get them in. That woman who works for the county would stand there and say, "I don't smell anything." And we're like, "Are you kidding me?" So it's deep. And the county employees are told what they should and should not do. They're all controlled. But unfortunately for them, the floodgates opened. We had met with Mayor Reyna numerous times. He lied to our face. Ken Bresci used to sit in our backyard making us believe that he was helping us. He was just a spy. They're really good with the spy thing, by the way. So we ripped the shroud of deceit off, and they couldn't put it back on. So now, moving forward, I'm watching the wolves at the gate. Those wolves come in the form of a Vito Cardinale, a Mordecai Eichhorn, a J.P. Orleans, and all these developers that are salivating looking at this beautiful town because they're looking to carve it up. It's already done because Jean Cipriani made sure she did that when she wrote those 2 unconstitutional ordinances that brought the DOJ to Jackson. That was done intentionally. Not a proud moment, myself and a very dear friend, I didn't get her okay to mention her name, so I won't, got a little tip that there was going to be a special meeting at George Gilmore's office, December 3rd, 2016. Not a proud moment. I sat there in the trunk of my car, this is how much I love my town and how angry I am for the corruption that I am watching from this county to destroy this town. So, 3 hours, because we watched them walk in. They came in little dribs and drabs, but I really got all the footage when they walked out. You see, at that time, Mayor Reyna was doing his shtick again that, there's a big divide with him and Ken Bresci. Well, I watched the entire council walk in. I watched the mayor walk in. I watched 3 members of the MUA, and 2 of which were running the Jackson GOP, walk in to George Gilmore's office. Jean Cipriani, who was a township attorney, walk in, and some gentleman I couldn't identify, stack of papers. And I honestly believe that is when they orchestrated the takeover of Jackson Township. They orchestrated how they were going to do what is happening today, to carve it up. I have the footage, I have the video. And I will tell you, when the division between Ken Bresci and Mayor Reyna, that was a fake, because they were high-fiving, patting each other on the back when they walked out. So now, moving forward, since my JR, since that, I decided to create an organization called Coupon, Citizen United to Protect Our Neighborhoods. It's a 501c4. That organization, again, the establishment had spies embedded in it to try to destroy it. Phil Stilton started his attacks. And our first attack was Jackson Park. We hired a lawyer, COVID shutdown came, and we were knee-deep in that lawsuit. And then what happens? Fair Share Housing steps in. Adam Gordon was the attorney. He turned around and started making accusations. The only reason why you don't want this, massive 1,100 high-density housing on the Barnegat Bay watershed, is because you don't want those kind of people. I'm like, what are you talking about? Our fight was for responsible developing. Our fight was for the environment. Our fight was for the watershed and the headwaters for the Toms River. I know that lake. I grew up on it. I know all of it. So we were not successful with our fight with Jackson Park, but I will tell you what I learned out of that. I wanted to know why fair share housing was involved. So I contacted the town and I said, I would like to see the fair share housing contract that you made with the state. You know what they told me? We don't have it. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't have it. They said, oh, you have to go to the planner who wrote it up. So I contacted the planner. They gave me the phone number. The guy, John Mazuzak, he laughed. He's like, what do you mean they told you they don't have it? By law, they must keep it. This is what they hide from you. They want to keep every single one of you stupid. And they did a really good job. They're forced to show everybody this year their fair share housing contract, because in it carves up every single piece of property they made a contract with that will be developed. So if you live next door to that parcel, you have no idea what's about to hit as soon as during the time they were keeping it quiet. I'd like to touch on the fact of what's happening with some of the developing. The Environmental Commission for the past almost 3 years intentionally was defunct because the Environmental Commission is what is the stopgate to hold these developers accountable. It has now been resurrected, good thing, and it looks like they are moving forward and doing an amazing job. Thanks, Ron. I'd like to talk about what's happening right now and putting a few more things, little pieces together. Some of you know that Frank Sadeghi was here a few weeks ago when Ms. Kuhn was anointed mayor.
Miss Coons.
And then Morty Bernstein was appointed council president.
Absolute snake.
So Frank Sadeghi, Ocean County Commissioner. I had already known that there was a relationship with him and Jen Kuhn, but he put it out there. The long relationship that he had with Jen Kuhn's father, and he knew her since she's been a teenager. So just so that you know, Frank Sadeghi owns Morgan Engineering. Morgan Engineering also has another part to his firm that is engineering for municipalities.
He also donated to the other guy running for this position.
Yes.
You're going to find a lot of parallels going on there.
So the person who runs the firm for Sadeghi is George Gilmore's wife. I told you I'd give you the pieces. George Gilmore is currently the Ocean County Board of Elections chairman. And the supervisor running it is Beth McGuckin, Greg McGuckin's ex-wife. Greg McGuckin is our current township attorney. So before I leave or end, I would like to just bring up the fact that some of you already know this, but on February 27, 2024, I was at a council meeting. They're going to read to the record to create a director of public safety. I didn't believe that it was warranted in my own personal view. I did have some concerns about it. Why are we creating another $230,000 position when we have other things that needed to be done here? So I brought up my 3 points. And my last point was to disclose the relationship with Jen Kuhn and the PBA union president, which struck a nerve. With that, I got a police escort. Big girl. I know. So I got a police escort out of the council meeting. See, here's the thing. They want you to think you don't have the right to speak. They want you to think you don't have the right to act against their decisions. You do. This is the United States of America. They just violated my First Amendment right. So right now they are looking to settle my 7-count civil rights federal lawsuit. And just know, I know there's going to be the Phil Stilton spin. I'm in it for the money. I don't want any money. I want the lawyers paid. I want justice for this town. I want the fact that you can go to any meeting in this town and speak your mind. You have every right, and thank you. You have every right to say what you want to say. You cannot threaten harm or violence or riot. That's it. You can say anything you want. Yeah. It's interesting because the one thing that I do want that I can't disclose right now because it's in settlement, they're refusing to do. And what I do want is for all the residents of Jackson. That is the main thing I want. And they're refusing. So I find that very, very interesting.
What is it, our voice?
Start reading the code online. Start reading it word for word. A lot of the words take away your rights. They're unconstitutional. And take a step back and look at who wrote it. Because currently Jean Cipriani is special counsel. Again, she is special counsel for Jackson Township. She is writing our ordinances as we speak. And she is the attorney blocking some of our Oprah requests. And before I end, I would like to make a comment. I was privileged to work with 3 amazing women. These 3 amazing women, Hope, Jen, and Chris Kay, we are the reason why you have a no-knock in Jackson Township. We are the reason why the landlord registration is as it is today. I would also like to make mention of our election last year. I think that we opened up a lot of people's eyes. I'm not a politician. I did it over a cup of coffee, scrolling through angry residents. I picked up my coffee, I walked over to my husband, I said, I am done. I'm running for council. You want to do this with me? And then I met Amanda, who is amazing. So, all the lies last year, very similar to Chris. You know, we're anti-cop, but I have a family member at Quantico right now. My cousin was Secret Service to 3 presidents. My husband's a lawyer. We are not anti-cop. But before I end, I want to put some rumors to rest. And I think it's best coming from me. There has been a lot of rumors that Chris Pollak is in bed with Mike Reyna. I have read them. I have heard them. I have had residents come up to me and say, well, this is my concern because this is what I heard. So I'm going to explain how that happened. Back, I want to say March or April, Mike Reyna met with a resident of Jackson Township several times. And he had information because, here's the spin again, sounds very familiar. There's a divide with the mayor, Jen Kuhn and Morty Bernstein. And he was going to give us information that would destroy them. So we all met. Chris was not involved in that early on. And it was me and a group of very good residents with high integrity that I hold with honor. So he never gave us any information. He hosted another meeting. We were duped. The same way this town has been duped since 2008. So I am putting that to rest. We were there for a reason, We were there thinking that we were going to be able to turn the tide in this town. It was not anything mischievous that we're looking to do anything, because of all people, not me. And it was really, really hard for Raina to actually meet with me, because I've been his nemesis for a very long time. So I wanted to put that to bed. So this is your opportunity, Jackson. We started last year. You have an opportunity. Take one council seat. Next year, you take the 2 and the mayor's seat, and you are going to turn the tide. Please, please, talk to everyone you know. Take that 5 minutes, get out and vote. The only reason why we lost last year, Amanda lost by less than 200 votes. The only reason why we lost, we found out there was a lot of residents that did not get out to vote. At Jackson Day, I found how a lot of residents aren't even registered. I didn't even know what to say. So please, spread the word. Change is coming, and change is coming for good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eleanor. Isn't she wonderful? Another hand of applause for Eleanor. She's amazing. She really is. And Eleanor kind of alluded to the fact that, we send Chris to the council this year, next year. It's a special election. It's only for 1 year, right? So Chris wins this year. He's got to run again next year. We'll run another council person and a mayoral candidate. And I have a feeling when we take back the government in Jackson, I have a feeling Eleanor Hannum's going to be a very big part of that. Wink, wink. Okay? So you can see this is one smart gal who knows legislation. She knows how government works. She knows how to connect the dots. And this is a woman who will probably be one of the chief architects of this administration. So we're going to get Jackson back on track. And we're going to win starting now and next year. I want to introduce a gentleman who's from Bricktown. He's running for Congress next year, District 4. Now, I want you to give him a big warm welcome. He's a Democrat, but I want you to also know, our campaign isn't about Democrat or Republican. It's about doing the right thing, right? It's about the issues. It's about populism. That's who Chris Pollak is, and that's who John Blake is. So let's forget about Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's not about that. It's about the issues. It's about the stuff here in our towns, Howell, Jackson, Bricktown, Toms River, that affects us. So I want to bring this gentleman up right now, who's another populist just like Chris, to say a few words.
Thank you so much. It's like Elliot said earlier, two people run for positions these days, people who want to serve the people and people who want to serve themselves. I consider myself to be the one who wants to serve the people, therefore a populist, much like Chris over here. And as for the corrupt representatives, wait till they find out that he's aligned with a populist Democrat running for the House of Representatives of the Congressional District number 4. That's a lot of power we can eliminate corruption with. So we have a lot of work to do. In my opinion, Chris Smith has been asleep behind the wheel for a long time now. He's let the place go to shit. He's been living in Virginia for who knows how long and renting out his residence in New Jersey to keep his position, which is bullshit. Like I said, our infrastructure is starting to crumble. We're having schools go bankrupt. We're having all these kinds of issues that could be eliminated with oversight that could be provided from his particular position. So I'm going to run through a little bit of my bio, see if you guys are still with me. Like I said, or like they said, I'm a Democrat, so maybe some of the things that I'm talking about may not resonate for you, but just know that everything that I am promoting is for the best interest of the people, okay? So basically, I'm from Brick. I was raised in Brick. I've been in Brick most of my life. I came back, I bought my house there. I joined the Navy from 2000 2004. I served in Sicily. I was an aviation electrician in the Navy. I got out, came back home. I joined IBW 400. I've been doing that for like 17 years now, union electrician. And I've been chairman of the Veterans Committee since 2018. So I'm really passionate about veterans and veterans benefits and stuff like that. So the real kick in the ass to get me to do this was Chris Smith voted yes to cut $1 billion from the VA, which, as you all know, has been underfunded forever. So there we go. That's why I'm running. So anyway, let's see. My goal is to make everyday living expenses more affordable, right? We have an affordability crisis in this country, right? That the cost of housing, insurances, medical, auto, utilities, childcare, medication, taking care of your family, it's unaffordable these days. So I'm running to fight for that. I'm running to fight to cut the cost of living expenses. I feel like the middle class is being eroded away slowly by these expenses that you're forced to. You have to spend this money. So anyway, my vision is rebuilding a crumbling infrastructure, creating many union jobs with living wage requirements and apprenticeships, providing first-time home buyers with a more robust market of single-family homes at an affordable price, while preventing the big corporations and LLCs from buying these houses, only to offer them strictly as rentals. I actually want to bring back the rent-to-own policies, and I would like to incentivize the builders to implement those. In fact, I would hold the government accountable, and we're going to take all these corrupt politicians out, honestly. But all right, so I believe our home needs change, right? And the only way it's going to change is by electing the right people in these positions that want to promote the positive change and not just line their wallets, you know? So here's some key issues that I'm for, but maybe not all of you are. So I would support medical care for all United States citizens. I'm not sure how everybody feels about that. I know it's kind of a left-leaning topic. And I would also support student debt relief, honestly. I feel like, the price of an education is ridiculous these days. I'm not just, union electrician, but I'm also, I promote education. I think people should definitely get smarter and keep sharpening your wits, So I believe that we should have provided child care, right? How much do you spend on child care per month, So if the government provided U.S. citizens child care, there's plenty of vacated buildings that can be utilized, and there's plenty of child care specialists that are looking for work where this can be a thing that can be provided, in my opinion. So I would like to do that. I think it's actually a good policy. So I talked about the local school systems. They definitely need some oversight because they're going under left and right, which is crazy. So my main focus would be reducing the amount of money that you're having to pay out of wallet just to live and support your family. Corruption's big. Definitely not going to be taking dark pact money and all that stuff. So I love guns, but we need some gun laws. It's getting crazy out there. Kids getting shot all the time. I'm serious. I love guns. They're great and everything like that. But there's some people that shouldn't have them. There should be red flag laws and universal background check and stuff like that. All right. Well, here's another one. I'm pro-choice. I think a woman should have the right to choose what happens to her body. So I'm not sure how you. All right. So and also another thing is the energy crisis. What the fuck is going on here? We were providing energy a couple of years ago. Now all of a sudden the nuke plants are all down and we're in an energy crisis. So Oyster Creek's down there in Lacey. It just went, they decommissioned it, so it's an empty plot of land at the moment. I think we should build some mini nukes over there and try to supplement the electrical grid and get ourselves over this electrical crisis. So. All right, well, you guys haven't hooked me off the stage yet, but I think I'm going to take my leave. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be roaming around. I would love to speak with anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, so now I got a special treat for you. A gentleman who probably doesn't need much of an introduction, Mike Calderese, who's also in Brick. And I think, Mike, your blog or website's the Brick Breakdown, I believe? Brick Breakdown. So Mike will certainly entertain you. He has a lot to say, some great stuff. So without any ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Calderese. Here you go, Mike.
How about that? Are you not entertained? Is this what I have to do? I have to immediately, like that's awesome expectations, Ellie. Thank you, I appreciate it. So everybody, my name is Mike Calderese. I run something called the Brick Breakdown. It's, just to give you a quick background about it, I started it out of a trailer ordinance. So the town wanted to ban my dually truck, wanted to ban trailers, and they tried doing this. They tried doing this where they slipped it past us. And all of a sudden, the last day, I make a little video of it, and 115 people came out, and we defeated the trailer ordinance. But from there, what I realized is, we have no representation. Right? When you go out and you get the same two candidates from the Democrats or the Republicans, it really doesn't matter. They're pushed on you either way. Right? You have whoever from the Republican club and whoever from the Democrat, they put whoever their chosen person is. And we always wonder, why doesn't regular people run for office? We always sit there and say, regular people need to run. So then Chris steps up. He runs. And the why do regular people not run is shown. He's been called everything, every horrible thing that you could be called. And it's awesome to watch from Brick's perspective, okay? So I grew up in Brick, just to give you background. Born and raised, I hit a home run on your Jackson, baseball field. I've scored touchdowns on your field. So I went to Monsignor Donovan, but I was born and raised in Brick. So what I see, just driving around, and I think everybody is going to agree with me, you drive around and you go, what is that? Did they build that already? Like, unbelievable. What is that? What did they build here? What are they building now? And it's nonstop. But what I notice, Brick has the same problems that Jackson has, that Howell has, that Manchester has. And there's a couple of different problems. Number one, it's people that haven't been involved. We keep our head down. We don't pay attention. People don't want to get involved in politics. Oh, I don't talk about politics or religion. Well, politics is going to be thrust on you, whether you talk about it or not. Eggs are politics. Who would have thought a pork roll, egg, and cheese was a political campaign? But somehow it is. Somehow saying pork roll over tail or ham is getting Mikey Sherrill in issues. But, I think if you can't eat pork roll, then you don't belong in New Jersey. But all right, I like you. So we're pork roll fans. Bacon or pork roll? I like both of them, but I go back and forth. But just do both. Just do both? Do you throw a hash brown on top and do the heart attack specials? Is what we're trying to do? You're trying to put me down before I run for any office? Is this what we're doing?
You do pork rolls, cheese, everything.
Double egg, no salt, pepper, and ketchup.
3 eggs, yeah, definitely 3 eggs. All right, I like this. So we're all agree on breakfast. So that's how you come together in New Jersey. But
Hey, that's lunch too.
but if you do think about it, in Brick, we have got the same problems like I was saying. And Brick, just like every other town, or not just like every other town, Brick has got an all-Democrat council. Believe it or not, we voted 73% for Trump. But we have an all-Democrat council and a Democrat mayor, and we have the exact same problems that Jackson has with all Republicans. Right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that however you haven't been involved, the politics has been pushed on you. It's been pushed on you in bad candidates. It's been pushed on you with bad policy. It's been pushed on you because you haven't been paying attention and talking about it. And because of that, we drive around wondering what they're building now. And I'll tell you, from getting involved in Brick, I started going to the planning boards. What you notice is when you have one person that gets involved, I started the Brick Breakdown. I got involved. Next thing you know, we have 100, 150 people showing up to the planning board. I made one video. I didn't even want to make, I'm a mason contractor, everybody, right? So you can see my hands, I have like asphalt on them. I'm a mason contractor. Just like Chris, this is what drew me to Chris. I made a video for a customer because they're building something in Manchester, right in the middle of a neighborhood. I'm not going to get too specific on it. But I made one video. Next thing I know, there's 50,000 views on it or whatever, and the place was packed when that meeting came to pass. They had to change it. Now they moved it from where it is at to the school because it was that many people that are involved. When you do that, you get heard. The loudest people are the people that are suing everybody. The loudest people are the people that are complaining. You and me have just been living life. We've just been working, breaking our ass. And the whole time, things are happening around us. No matter where you're at, Jackson, Brick, Howell, you name it, Manchester, it's just being pushed on us. And the time for that stuff has got to stop. When does it stop? It stops with electing someone like Chris. Now, do we agree on everything? No, but you know what started happening? People started sending him my videos, and people started sending me his videos. You got to link up with this guy. So then, next thing I know, he's in my backyard, or my neighbor's backyard. We're smoking cigars, having a good time, talking about who he is as a person. Right? And when I sit back and I look at the candidates in Brick, and we have 2 bad candidates in Brick, and I see what's going on in Jackson, how many real good candidates do you have sitting on that council? Anybody? Anybody want to raise their hands? Is there one?
0. Nope.
There you go. Anybody else? Yell out numbers. Come on. We got anything more than a number? How about 2? 2? Can we get 2? No? No, you can't. See, this is my point. So what do? We have a guy that stepped up and said, you know what? I don't need this crap. It's like Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a billionaire. Did he need to run for president for us?
No.
No. Do I need to be called names when I go out and just say basic little things about what's actually happening for truth? Does he need to be called names every day of the week just because he's running for you guys?
No.
He is the person that we need. He is the person that every single one of you guys, when you're sitting in your homes wondering, why don't regular people run for office? He's the one. And not only that, this is what he needs. This is like an amazing turnout. Like I'm being honest with you. You guys should all be very proud of yourselves because you're actually doing something. And it starts with showing up to something like this. But step 2 is saying, why don't we give this guy a try? Step 2 is talking to your neighbors, right? And just opening up the dialogue and say, guys, and one of the things I love hearing is when you get to local issues, Republican and Democrat, it means nothing. It means nothing. Again, all Democrat and Brick, same problems that Jackson has, all Republican. It's about people. That is the difference. Do you want the people that are put in front of you that's going to do to you what the last bunch of people for the last 20 years have done? We all watched it happen. I watched it happen in Brick. It's coming everywhere. I watched it happen in Jackson. Do you want to continue to elect those people? No, it starts like everybody's saying by electing someone like him. And you know what? Then you get a second guy in there. Then a third guy in there. Because I got news for everybody, and this is what I'm going to finish on. We have to learn from what is happening to us. Okay? And what I mean by that is, there is a systematic way that this is happening to all of our towns. I'm trying to say this as carefully as possible. I want you to use your imaginations here for a second, okay? There is a systematic way that's happening. And there's one thing that I think we all need to do is learn from what they are doing and use it for ourselves. And what is that? That means sticking together as a solitary unit. Whether we're Democrats, whether we're Republicans, doesn't matter. You're from Jackson. It's about Jackson. Okay? You have a solitary group that's coming for you. You have to be a solitary group back. That's all I'm going to say. And you say whatever political party, whatever you want. But we have to come together, people in Ocean County, as a solitary mass to say no and to push back. Otherwise, it's going to be here before you know it, because it already is. I think everybody realizes that. And if you don't do something now, see all these beautiful woods? See all these trees? They're gone. And they're gone fast. You've all seen it happen. So thank you. Listen, I think every one of you guys are doing a great thing just by being here. You got up, you got outside. It's a little bit chilly. It's a great, beautiful day. But you guys should give yourselves a hand by being here in the first place. All right? But talk about this. Thank you guys very much. If you want to follow us, my name is Mike Calabrese again. I run the Brick Breakdown. Last thing, I do have a camera set up over there. I tried live streaming this event. It didn't really want to work for me. But if anybody wants to come and be interviewed, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Like 5 minutes, I'll put together some clips. If you want to just tell me what your issues are in the town. But if you can't follow me in the Brick Breakdown, I appreciate it. And definitely get out, get your friends out to vote for this guy, Chris Pollak. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. Mike's great, isn't he? He's got a lot to say. I love it. I love it. So the next person we're going to bring up, and we got 2 more folks that are going to speak before Chris gets up and gives his speech, is Amanda Trombetta. Amanda ran for council last term. She was part of that HTH group. And again, special thanks to Amanda for multiple reasons. A, she helped pave the way for this, right? We wouldn't be here, Chris wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for people like Eleanor and Hope Drew and Amanda. These are the folks that pretty much paved the road for us to get here today. And Amanda works on our team, right? So she's helping Chris and us hopefully get through this election and send Chris to the council. And I'm sure you're going to see a lot more of Amanda in the near future. So want to introduce Amanda Trombetta to come up and speak and say a few words.
Hello. It's loud. First, I want to thank every single one of you for being here. Whether you came out to support Chris, to learn more, or even if you're here because someone paid you to show up. Yes, we see you too. Either way, your presence matters. Hi, Phil's still in. For those of you who aren't aware, last year at our HTH fundraiser, Phil had paid several people to show up and video us, and the next day he posted it on his website. So I wanted to say, if you guys are here for him, thank you. We know desperate times call for desperate measures, and boy, are you desperate. But unlike the crowd you run with, we're not afraid of the truth. And in fact, we invite it, because transparency, honesty, and accountability are what this movement is built on. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Amanda Trombetta. Like they said, I ran for town council last election. I won more districts than any other candidate. There was 7 of us, and I won more than any of us. But I lost the overall race to Mr. Bernstein by roughly 150 votes. That's it, 150 votes. That number sticks with me because it's proof that every single vote counts. If just a few more residents had gone out and voted, our town could look very different today. The direction, the leadership, the priorities, all of it. That's why I'm here tonight. Yes, to support Chris, who I truly believe in. He cares about Jackson, but also to remind everyone how powerful your voice is. Don't ever think your vote doesn't count. I'm standing here as living proof that it does. Chris isn't running to serve himself, he's running to serve you. He's running because he loves this town, and he believes Jackson deserves leadership that listens, that's honest, that's about people, not politics. So I'm asking all of you, talk to your family, your friends, your neighbors, share the message at work, at school drop-off, at the diner, even while waiting in line for coffee. Tell them what's at stake and why this election matters. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about one person or one race. It's about our community, our future, and our right to have leaders who reflect the values of the people, not the interests of a few. As a mother, I think about my children and all the children of this town who deserve better, leaders they could look up to, a town they could be proud of, and a future that depends on the choices we make in this election. So let's show up, let's make our voices heard, let's get out there and vote for Chris and the kind of Jackson we could all be proud of. Thank you. I love this town. I know together we can make it even better. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. I want to bring up our next speaker. We'll keep this moving along. Mike from Wake Up, New Jersey. So Mike is a online influencer, has a lot of great things to say about politics, kind of rails on the same side we do, more of a populist that has a lot of great things to say. So without any ado, I'll let him speak for himself. Mike, here you go.
First off, before you go, how are you still on a t-shirt? So how are you still on a t-shirt? It's freezing out here. Guys, appreciate you having me here. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Michael from Wake Up, New Jersey. I run a social media handle, as he said, and linked up with Chris after watching his videos speaking out against your board here, and it really resonated with me. A little bit about me. I'm a union construction worker for over 20 years. I started speaking out on the nonsense happening in our state because New Jersey is headed in the wrong direction. Unlike the majority of speakers here, I'm not from Jackson, but what is happening here is happening all over the state. Let me take you back to when I was a kid in Washington Township, back in the early 90s. Then it was a tiny town with farms all over the place. Then slowly over the years, each one of them sold one by one to housing developments. Flash forward to now, this is happening everywhere, including your town of Jackson and in my area of Burlington County. Warehouses endlessly built with no tenants, miles of townhouses they label as affordable homes line our once fertile land. Why are all these warehouses being built? Why are all the overdevelopment and townhouses as far as the eye can see? Our government pushed mandates on each one of our towns, and our council cares more about appeasing the developers than the people. They twist their arms to the townspeople and sue them if they don't get their way. It's scary to think how much power they have and how beholden members of your board and boards all around the state are. They are most definitely on the take to destroy your small towns, to all line their pockets. Otherwise, they'd be trying to stop it. This is something I see all over the state. And more recently, we actually had a victory where a small farm in Cranberry, New Jersey was saved after 5 months of battling because of people like us. Yeah, it was a great victory, guys, seriously. But most places around our state are not so lucky. One member of that council stated taking the land was for the greater good. Still one of the most insane lines I've ever heard while thieving land from someone else. Your council has so much power to change things around your area. This is where a strong candidate like Chris and all of you speaking out comes in. Make a statement that is what is happening here in your area needs to stop. You can make your voice heard by electing folks that care about this town and the people in it. And by doing that, effectively gives you more power back to you, the people again. I appreciate having me here. Go out and vote. Early voting's happening. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mike. Second to last speaker, this is a special gal. This is Chris's wife, Nicole, who's going to come up with Chris's son. You know what they say, behind every good man is an amazing woman. Us men, we couldn't do what we do unless we have great women behind us, or we pretty much collapse. That's kind of how it goes. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Nicole, and with any ado, here you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. He just introduced me. I'm Chris's wife. For those of you that already know me, you know that being upstage here is a scene from my worst nightmare, and I'd rather be anywhere else right now.
You're doing great.
So thank you for your patience. But I have something to say. As long as I've known my husband, he's always gone out of his way to help people and make the community he lived in better. This is not a new thing that he just started doing. Whether it was a trash cleanup, handing out food to the homeless, or helping people feel safe, this has always been a part of who he is. I love this about him, and I always fully support him in all his endeavors. But Chris fighting for Jackson holds a special place in my heart. I grew up in the neighboring town of Howell, and even though I hate dealing with the politics and all the horrible things that people have been saying about Chris, I believe in what he's doing, and I know all of you do too. So even though you don't usually see me, just know that I am behind him every step of the way, trying to lighten his load so he can fully devote himself to this campaign and the people of Jackson. And now I'd like to bring our son Logan up to the mic, that's you, to say something and introduce the person we've all been waiting for.
I would like to introduce my daughter. Who is fighting the government Pollak.
Did good. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm loud. All right. I probably don't even need a microphone, to be honest. I'm used to projecting my voice. Guys, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. I'm amazed that I'm even standing here today. This is something I had never imagined I would do in a million years. Me running for political office. I hate politicians. They're dirty scumbags. I'm the guy who's just going to say what needs to be said. And this is why I'm in this position today. Not because I played the game, not because I'm involved with any Republican or Democrat club. I'm here because I'm pissed off. I'm here because I'm speaking for you. I'm saying what you feel and what you want. And the people in charge don't care. And that's why I'm here, to fight for every single one of you. That's why I created this campaign, to fight for Jackson. This is our home. This is where we raise our families, and this is where we live. And I'm not going to stand by and just give it up to a bunch of greedy politicians who are in bed with developers, with engineering firms, with the people who are profiting off the destruction of the character of this town. We got a lot of reversions here. Yeah. Listen, I don't need a microphone, all right? I'm here for every one of you, and I'm amazed that you're here for me. You mean the world to me. And I will fight with everything I have for this town. I don't care what anybody says about me. I don't care what disgusting things they put out there. The lies, the defamation, and it's paid for with your tax dollars. That is sickening and it's disgusting. It's because somebody is finally speaking up. Somebody is not afraid. And now I've gone all over Jackson speaking to thousands and thousands of people. And I've heard many times over and over again, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get political. People are genuinely afraid to get involved because what they will do to you, what they'll do to your business, your reputation, if you don't fall in line. I will never fall in line with them. I will fight them every step of the way. There's only one way to stop them. Only one way. I don't think they're going to go that far, I'll tell you that. I will fight every moment, every way, for you and your family. I don't care. I fight till the end. You know what? I plan to win this election with your support, your help. But you know what? If I don't win, I don't care, because I continue fighting, because this is my home. And now you have another guy running who pretends he cares about this town. He's lived here his entire life. He's the EMS chief, the fire commissioner. But he's working with the very people who are profiting off the destruction of this town. I am not afraid to say the truth. We have our council president, Morty Bernstein. He is the architect of everything bad happening in this town. He is tied to all of the political money that's coming in here, all the special interests, the developers, and he tries to hide it. He has a pact that his wife has with a major developer. And I go through all the donations. I look at everything because I give a damn. And I have to thank people like Eleanor, people like Amanda for waking me up. I wasn't paying attention for the longest time in this town. And just like you, I see the changes happening. I see more traffic, more development. I see our schools closing down. I had to comfort my son. I had to tell him that his school was closing down. And I witnessed him break down in tears, like the first time in his life I've ever witnessed him just like break down and cry when I had to tell him his school was closing down. It was picture perfect what I had. He went to Rosenauer. My wife used to walk him to school. We lived just a couple blocks away. It was beautiful. I'm from Staten Island, Brooklyn to Staten Island to New Jersey. I did the migration path like most people do. All right.
Yeah, we still love you.
My wife.
We still love you.
I know.
We'll allow it.
My wife is from Howell. The reason I'm here is because my wife spent her entire life in Howell. Her dad lives in Howell. Her family's local over here. And once she got pregnant, I was like, you know what? We're coming out here. We have to find a better life. And Jackson seemed like a wonderful place. We live 5 minutes from her father. It seemed like just a beautiful family place. It has open space. It has nature. It had a good school system. until they started closing down all our schools. But this is the future these people in charge are bringing. And they're going to pretend like they care. They're going to pretend like they're fighting it. Meanwhile, they're the architects of the destruction of this town. They want every one of us to leave, I'll tell you that. They only want people here who are going to fall in line and vote with them. What they bank on is that people are too stupid and not paying attention. You can tell in everything they do, whatever mailers they send, text messages, the things they send out and say. They hope you're not paying attention. They hope you don't know who people are and what's going on. But that's where we really make the difference. I wasn't paying attention until like a year ago. And then once I opened my eyes, you just can't shut them. You see everything that's happening, and I had to fight. I didn't expect to be here. This position opened up because somebody on council passed away. I wasn't intending to run, but I made my voice heard. They didn't like that off the bat. They started smearing me and attacking me before I was even going to run for anything. Nobody else was running for this position, so I said, you know what? I'm going to step up and do it. And it's something I heard from other people. They were saying, oh, you talk a lot. Why don't you do something? Now I'm doing something. And that's how you create change. Change can come from every single one of you. When one person stands up and is unafraid, other people are going to step up. Other people are going to make a difference. This campaign isn't just about Jackson. This is about you. This is about your power to make a difference and change this entire world. It starts little by little, step by step. And I'm just eternally grateful for every single one of you guys. And now, I'm not just a guy who gets angry and yells. I promise. All right? Even though I do get angry and yell sometimes. And if you know me personally, I'm a pretty quiet guy. I like to keep to myself. But when it comes to something I'm passionate about, like my town, like where I live and where I raise my family, yeah, I'm going to speak up. And a lot of people go, what are you going to do, Chris? What are you going to do? I've already forced this council to take action on things. We have out-of-town investors buying up our single-family homes. They are pricing out people. They're paying in cash. And I've heard multiple people say, hey, my son is trying to buy a house in town, and he's getting outbid time and time again. That's sick. Somebody who grew up their entire life here wants to stay in this town, can't afford to live here. And they're being outbid by a bunch of corporate investors. What does our newly anointed mayor do? She sells real estate. She's the one profiting off what's going on here. Who does she say she works for? Institutional investors. Whoa, what a coincidence. Our council president, Morty Bernstein, I will say it out loud. He is the architect of everything that's happening in this town. I will say it out loud. I don't care. I will say everything right to their face as well. When I get in there, when I win, I am going to make their life a living hell. I am a disruptor. I am a fighter. And people go, oh, you want somebody who's going to work with that? No. If they're not going to do what's right for you, damn right I will fight them. But you know what? If they're going to make a decision that's good for the town, why wouldn't I work with them? It's common sense, and that's what I'm about. And I'll tell you the things that I want, my platform. You need responsible development. My opponent is sending out text messages, spending a bunch of the money he's getting from developers, from engineering firms, from special interests. Because I said, you know what, you can't stop development. Yeah, you can't stop development, it's going to happen. This is the thing, if somebody buys land, they're going to develop. It's up to the town, the planning board, to decide what can be developed and what should be developed. This is common sense governance. And he's going around saying, he's not going to stop development, I'm going to fight over development. What are you going to do? You're getting money from the people who said they want this town to be the epicenter of growth for Ocean County. He's getting money from that guy. The guy who says he wants us to have 200,000 people living here. We have 60, like 2,000 or 3,000 people living here now. Imagine tripling. Like, we didn't move here for that. We don't want to live in a city. We want to live in a nice, beautiful family town that we all know and love.
Amen.
Amen.
Let me talk about, you need responsible development. And now, I'm a loud mouth, but I'm not a dummy. okay? We need a pause on major development. That needs to happen. It has to be brief. It takes time. You have to calm it down. You need to go back to the master plan that is developed by the very people profiting off the future of this town. We need to go back and retool that. We need to raise the developer fees. If they're going to make a ton of money off our town, and that's what's happening here, everything is about money. Can we all agree on that? Yeah. Of course it is. Because that's all these dirty, scumbag politicians care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about representing you. They're in it for themselves. They are self-interested. And that needs to end. That's why I'm stepping up. That's why I'm dangerous to all of them. Because my interests are for you and this town. And that's why I do this. We need to raise the fees on them. But you know what? I understand, right? Economics, they might raise fees on their, right, what they build and this and that. But also at the same end, let's be smart about it. Let's incentivize them to do the right thing. We have a mandated amount of homes that need to be built affordable. Why don't we say, hey guys, you know what? We just raised a bunch of fees on you. Why don't we lower them again if you decide to go over that 20% threshold that they have to build? Why don't we incentivize them to add more green space to all of their developments, right? See, these are common sense solutions that they'll never do because they're in bed with them and they want the development, they want the changes because you know what's going on, all right? We need to do things like increase buffer zones. When they're making a giant development, when they're building something that, to be honest, shouldn't be in your neighborhood, there needs to be a bigger buffer zone between you and them as a safety thing for the people who live there. What's going on is not right. I'm upset about it, obviously. We have warehouses next to where people live. How is that happening? How is that going on? That is our governance. That is their choices. They changed that, I think, in 2021. And now they're started building warehouses next right to where people live. We need to put it back to an industrial zone. Common sense solutions. All right? We need some ethics in this town because I'll tell you, there is none. All right? From almost everybody in our government has very little to no ethics. There's probably one good guy on that council, and I think we all know who that is. All right? We need term limits. We've had the former mayor for 18 years. That is way too long. Politics is not a career, should never be a career. Politics is about service, and people turn it into a career where they enrich themselves. How are you, before people get involved in politics, they're kind of like regular, meager living, and then all of a sudden, you're worth $100 million, right? Like, those are the things that happens, and those are the things that need to end. I think they don't care what you have to say. They've thrown people out of meetings, getting them in lawsuits. We need mandatory town hall meetings, because you get up there, they give you 5 minutes to talk, and then a lot of times it becomes, thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, have a good day. No, we need real back and forth with our politicians. They need to be out here speaking to you like I do, going all over town, having real conversations. They're scared of it because they know everybody's upset. Everybody is unhappy. But we need mandatory town hall meetings, and that's where you can have a real conversation, which is exactly needed. I think we need a fully fund code enforcement. They cut our code enforcement. They protect the quality of life in this town. They put in our budget 8 months late. Think about it. You're running a town and you submit the budget 8 months late. That is absolutely irresponsible. And they did it to attack code enforcement who protects your quality of life. Wild. And these are the people running our town. We need to be able to work together with all our departments. Our mayor needs to be able to work with the council, with all the departments to serve you, the people. And it really becomes that simple. All right? We need to stop these boarding houses we have popping up. I've heard it so many places. We have these out-of-town investors buying up these homes. And what do? They turn into a boarding house where you have 10, 15, 20 people living in it. It's not right. It lowers our quality of life. And I have some things where I try to be smart about it. You need to define what a family is in the zoning code. They don't have that. All right? And when you do that, you make sure it helps us enforce a little bit better. So what that does is it makes it have to operate as a household, right? One unit. It's not multiple people living there paying the bills differently. It forces these landlords and people who do this to actually have to pay the bills as one. And if they're not doing it, they will then be breaking the law. We need ways to help our code enforcement do their jobs. We need ways to work with every department to do the right thing for you. I just don't think they care. We need to start working on these out-of-town investors that are buying up our homes because it's not helpful. There's so many things we need to do, but really, most of all, we need somebody who actually represents you, your interest, not the developers, not the engineering firms, not the people who are pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into our town. And why are these people spending all that money and giving them to our politicians? Why? Why? Influence. It's a payoff. We all know it, and I'll say it. And if I get elected, no, when I get elected, I'm going to say it right to their faces. I will disrupt every bad thing I see happening in this town, and I will represent every one of you. You know why? Because I am one of you. We're all the same. We all want the same things. And it's about time we have proper representation, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm just grateful for every one of you that I have you guys turn out for something like this, man. Like I said, never in a million years. It's time to change the game. It's time to inspire others, and it's time to make a difference. And I can't do it without you. Of course, I can't do it without your vote. I can't do it without your support. And I'm just so thankful for every single one of you guys. Early voting has started today. So if you haven't voted yet, we got people who did it already. I love you. Thank you. If you haven't, Jackson Library. All right, go right over there. All right, I know I take my kid to the park there all the time, but get out and vote. Bring your friends, bring your family, tell everybody. This is our chance to send a message. No more. No more dirty politicians. We don't want this direction anymore. This is the chance for change. Elect the guy that they're afraid of. That'll send the greatest message to them. And next year is our chance to take this town back. 2 council seats and the mayor. Then we make real change. Until then, I fight them every step of the way. I disrupt everything bad they're doing, and I will force them to do the right thing. And everybody, I'm not going to keep rambling. I'm really thankful for everybody for being here, supporting me. You mean the world to me. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy. Have a drink. We'll have a beer together. Let's hang out. Feel free to talk to me. Ask me questions. Grab my ear. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. So everybody, I want to thank you all for coming. Just a quick tidbit. Obviously, Chris is going to be here. He's going to walk around. Feel free to approach him. If you have any questions, concerns, anything. We're here for the next hour. Eat, drink, be merry, chat with Chris. God bless you. Thank you for coming. Go Jackson.
Nothing planned at all.
All right, Short Points family, like, comment, subscribe. You get the unedited version of this. I really don't care who you vote for. Just get out and vote. Vote early. Vote. Well, don't vote off. You can only vote once, but certainly get out and vote. Love you. Stay safe. Bye.